Hey folks, Combat Gameplay team here for a rundown of ability changes coming with the launch of the final shape in just a few short weeks. As a warning, this is one of our largest balance patches in recent years, so you may want to settle in for a long read. Here's a brief overview of what we'll be covering today. Updates to a large portion of stasis abilities suit, including our new keyword Frost Armor. Frost Armor is going to be fire, I hope. The near future of Well of Radiance and Ward of Dawn in the final shape, a subclass by subclass breakdown of balance change to abilities, aspects, and fragments, including but not limited to those included with Prismatic. Alright, let's start with Stasis. Shortly after the release of Stasis, we shifted focus back to the back-to-back launch of the Bungie 30th Anniversary Pack and Void 3.0, and we haven't really let up on the gas since. So as a result, other than smaller changes we've been able to make here and there, it's been difficult to evaluate the relationship between Stasis and our other damage types and make larger feature level updates to it. This was something we wanted to change with the final shape. In particular, we wanted to upgrade the Stasis Shard Overshield that lived on the fringes of the damage type to make it a full-on keyword that we could incorporate into abilities, armors, or weapon perks. Frost Armor is a stacking buff that reduces incoming damage with greater damage reduction as your stacks increase. At launch, Frost Armor will be granted from a variety of sources, including the Tectonic, Grim, Glacial Harvest aspects. Fire as fuck. Okay. Fragments and exotic armor. By default, you can build to a maximum number of 5 stacks that last 9 seconds with the newly reworked Whisper of Rhyme fragment. Frost Armor's maximum lifetime increases to 13 seconds and can build to a maximum of 8 stacks, unlike the Stasis Shard Overshield. Frost Armor remains active when your super is cast, though its effectiveness is significantly lower while your super is active. Interesting, okay. So that you can't just be a fucking tank in your super. Fair enough. New Frost Armor keyword. You're fortified by layers of durable stasis matter, reducing incoming damage. Frost Armor damage resistance grows stronger as you gain additional stacks. Reduces damage from PvE combatants by 4.5% per stack, and from enemy players by 2% per stack. So 4.5 times 5, it'll like 25% damage reduction with it ish. I might be off. My math might be off, but it's fine. Whisper of Rhyme rework no longer grants Stasis Overshield when collecting a Stasis Shard. Now increases maximum duration of Frost Armor. That will make it so much more fucking survivable, if I'm being honest. One long-standing piece of feedback we've received is that Stasis Shards felt too limited, requiring a specific aspect to generate. Because Stasis Shards are created for all allied players at once, rather than being a shared consumed resource like Tangles or a local only resource like Fire Sprites, Ionic Traces, and Void Breaches, it would be easy for the number of Stasis Shards on the fields to spiral out of control if we were to make their creation intrinsic to the damage type. Instead, we're increasing the number of sources that players can build in to generate them. More on this shortly, and increasing their value when collected. That increase can be nice with the shards. Yeah. And increasing their value when collected with a harvest aspect equipped. When Tectonic, Grim, or Glacial Harvest is equipped, in addition to their previous behavior, collecting any Stasis Shards now grants some health and a stack of Frost Armor. Fire, because my hunter is going to be so heat now. Okay. Alongside this increased potency, we're also implementing a shared cooldown on rapid Stasis Shard creation. This cooldown is intended to be pretty generous and primarily limits cases of oppressive behavior like Behemoth Trial Squads. Fair. That's fair. Okay. All harvest aspects added new behavior. While Grim, Tectonic, or Glacial is equipped, Stasis Shards, yep. Large Stasis Shards from Grim Harvest grant more health in Frost Armor stacks. Okay, cool. So that's the larger ones actually do something other than just give more energy. All harvest aspects now have a standardized cooldown when a large number of shards are created very quickly. So if you just like make a fuck ton like with your super or some shit, it's gonna be on a cooldown, which is fine. Now creates stasis shards when shattering a frozen target in addition to shattering stasis crystals. Cool. Our intention is that Frost Armor can be granted through a variety of sources. As part of this, we've updated Renewal Grass and Ballador's Wrathweavers to directly grant Frost Armor. Huge buff to Renewal Grass. Okay. Rather than... And Ballador's Wrathweavers, they were kind of meh to begin with, but they're actually going to be kind of fire alongside. If your team uses like stasis shit, it'll be fire. Rather than their own custom damage resistance or stasis shard overshield. Replace generic damage resistance with Frost Armor. Replace stasis shard overshield with Frost Armor when you activate your Rift or use Winter's Wrath Shatter attack. To help increase players' capabilities to generate stasis shards, we've created a brand new fragment that offers a straightforward method that can slot into many different build types. Whisper of Chill. New fragment. Cool. Stasis weapon final blows have a chance to create a stasis shard. Huge. That's really nice. More generation of stasis shards is what we need. That's why stasis is actually good this season, because of the artifact actually letting you make more stasis shards. And that actually gives a reason to use a stasis weapon. As part of this effort, we've also reworked Whisper of Chains. This fragment has been a popular choice since its inception due to its ease of use and stat bonus. However, its gameplay benefit was frequently difficult to read and ran counter to core gameplay loops revolving around creating and destroying crystals, and the core human compulsion to destroy every crystal you see. To make Whisper of Chains fully successful, it required a cooperation from teammates. Yeah. So it no longer gives passive damage resistance when near it or a frozen target. Now grants a chance to create a stasis shard when defeating a target while you have one or more stacks of Frost Armor. Pretty nice, pretty nice. Kind of a nerf, but also kind of fine, because Frost Armor is better than just the resist that was there, I think. Whisper of Fractures no longer increases melee energy regeneration while surrounded by enemies. Now grants Frost Armor when you shatter. Okay, so my shit's gonna have to fucking change. I'm gonna have to change my build, man. Our final fragment rework is Torment. Grenade energy gains are no longer dependent on current health value. Base grenade energy regeneration amount per incoming damage event increased from 5 to 7%. While you have Frost, you get 7 to 12%. We haven't seen anything about Sunbracers at all, because the exotic armor stuff comes tomorrow. Not today, mate, not today. And one brand new stasis fragment, Whisper of Reversal. While you have Frost Armor, dealing or receiving physical melee damage slows your victims or attacker. That's pretty cool, I like that. Stasis Shatter increased base PvE shatter damage from 200 to 400. Yes! 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 Fix an issue where bosses auto-shattering were being hit by 2 instances of shatter damage. Fix an issue where players in an active super would show immune damage flyouts when automatically breaking out of stasis freeze. Oh, that's right. Up front, we believe that Shade Binders are largely in good shape across all game modes relative to our stasis subclasses. Therefore, we've limited our focus here. We've added a small boost to Ice Flare Bolt's ability to lock down rooms. Okay, so they nerfed Ice Flare Bolts. Number of Seekers created on cooldown from 5 to 7. This is a small nerf. Added new behavior. Slowing targets briefly increases your class ability's regeneration rate. Huge. Bonus is reduced in PvP game modes. Now grants PvE damage reduction when activated. Huge. It actually makes it okay for fucking whatever it's called. Touch of Winter. Added an additional stasis crystal to the ring formation, increasing total count from 6 to 7. Cool. Glacier Grenade. Ring now forms over 0.27 seconds rather than instantly. Kind of sucks. Kind of a nerf to Glacier Grenade. Cold Snap Grenade no longer chains an additional time while Touch of Winter is equipped. Instead, Seekers now duplicate when they freeze a target. Second and third Seeker chains. Okay, I don't care. I don't use these nades at all, really. Silence and Squall increase squall maximum travel speed. Cool. Now slows down when any target is within its area of effect to reduce instances where it could overshoot its target. Cool. Increase damage and slow tick rate by about 40%. Sheesh! Bringing its freeze time from approximately 0.8 seconds to 0.5 seconds. Huge. Okay. Behemoth, we're making several quality of life improvements. We're making Shiver Strike and Glacial Quake more reliable. Increased damage versus PvE combatants by 10%. Increased size by 50%. Increased maximum lunge tracking angular speed from 7 degrees to 21 degrees. Now automatically begins sprinting when the player throttles forward. Okay. Remove sprint time requirement. Now goes on cooldown for 4 seconds after one extended slide. Cool. Diamond lances get increased thrown detonation radius is bigger. Detonation radius again bigger. Shatters stasis crystals. That's nice. I didn't know it didn't do that. That was ass. Point two, making strand tangles or matching strand tangles. Oh, okay. So it has a pickup time like strand tangles now. Increase to 3 meters, matching strand tangles. Okay, so it just strand. Yeah. Okay, here it is. Back in November, we briefly touched on Well of Radiance and Word of Dawn and how we were evaluating their place in the sandbox with the launch of the final shape. We're making some larger changes to both of these supers to push them into more distinct identities and to reduce the fire and forget nature of Well of Radiance. Well's core fantasy has always been a supercharged, healing, empowering Rift combo, offering a rally point to your fire team. In its current form, offer effective invulnerability, which removes any other defensive option from consideration. We're also pulling back on its defensive output. Okay, so now grants Radiant for 8 seconds when exiting the well. Okay, that's kind of a buff, but okay, sure. Reduced player survivability while standing in the well, or reduced healing from 100 to 50, matching, so it's just resto times 2, it's still going to be really good. Increased heal on cast from 40 to 300 points, that's brain dead. Because now, as I cast it, I just auto fucking live no matter what. Reduced damage resistance from non-boss combatants from 40% to 20%. So instead of having a 40% DR, it's a 20% against non-boss combatants. And against boss combatants, it's a 10%. That's fucking massive. Increase maximum orbs of power from defeating targets while you're in your from 4 to 5. Okay. Word of Dawn is meant to be a highly defensive safe haven for you and your team in practice. Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, that's it's still gonna be good. It's just not gonna be placed well in the middle of room in front of every single thing in the entire room and live. It's gonna be place your well for damage, hope you survive. They're buffing this though. Okay, so Word of Dawn, Armor of Light, removed Armor of Light overshield. Word of Dawn now immediately applies a full overshield to the caster and allies that enter its dome. Armor of Light now instead grants additional damage resistance to players inside the Word of Dawn, 30% versus enemy players and 60% versus enemy combatants. Okay. So you're just immortal in Word of Dawn now. Titan might be kind of nutty. Everybody's gonna move from fucking Warlock well to... But that's just inside the bubble, so... effective health of players inside the Word of Dawn remains roughly the same as it was before. Effective health of players inside the Word of Dawn is significantly lower than it was before versus players in PvP. And cannot... Okay, we got a buff, or a well nerf in PvP, which is cool. Or fucking Word of Dawn nerf in PvP. Allies near the Word of Dawn dome now have Void Overshield trickled on over time, similar to the volume behind a Bastion barricade. Okay, so it's just barricade shield now. No longer provides Weapons of Light by default. What? It's now on Saint 14? What? Okay. Okay, whatever, bro. That's fine. Just no weapons of light other than if you use Saint 14's Helm of Saint 14. And okay. Cool, I guess. I think Well's still gonna be better now. I still think Well is just as good. It's just gonna be, you gotta be smarter. It's not place down and live forever. Because Helm of Saint 14 is the only like exotic that affects Word of Dawn, I think, or like one of the only exotics, and it's Saint 14's helmet. So I guess it makes sense. Fair enough. Sure. Seeing that supers above and burst damage supers in the same tier have increasingly dominated the Crucible landscape due to their uptime. While we do want to maintain some texture, this means that no matter what super you have equipped, dealing a specific amount of damage to a specific enemy type will result in the same amount of super energy gain, whereas previously that value could be removed. Arc subclasses. In general, Arc Strider has found a solid niche in mid-level PvE content, but struggles to execute its gameplay a little bit higher tier. With a new super and aspect on the way, we're not making any large changes to the kit with this release. But we plan to evaluate how it's feeling with the full package as we go. For now, we've focused on adding keyword utility to Arc Staff and increasing the uptime of Disorienting Blow to make it a stronger choice in comparison to Combination Blow. We're also increasing players' ability to survive when using Tempest Strike, which now grants a short duration of PvE damage resistance. That's just ass. I'm never using that, so it doesn't matter. Decrease base cooldown to 90 seconds, whatever. These changes don't matter. Warlock Lightning Surge added additional damage resistance when activated. Nice. That's pretty cool for Lightning Surge. Ball Lightning increased the final arming shape size by 30%. Oh, okay. So it's a bigger ball. Pretty nice. I've always liked Ball Lightning, so increased secondary chain lightning from chain damage from 27 to 54. That's a pretty good buff for it. Actually makes it pretty nice. Like with Tempest Strike and Lightning Surge for change for Warlocks, we're implementing the same extra damage resistance. So for Thunderclap, you're getting extra damage resistance, increased minimum damage. I don't feel like this Thunderclap needed damage buffs, but it's getting a damage buff by 20%, 33% at maximum, and 14% in PvP. Find a knockout aspect across game modes. In part, this is due to a harsh difference in the value of unstunning passive health. Increased bonus damage granted to powered melee attacks versus PvE combatants from 25%. Okay. Huh. I don't know what knockout does, but they're buffing the shit out of Arc, it looks like. Or this aspect specifically. I want to see the Strand nerfs to fucking Titan, bro. Like, I don't care about them getting buffed for real. Touch of Thunder, Storm Grenade, increased tracking travel speed when PvE combatants, or when targeting PvE combatants, meters per second increasing. Okay, cool. Lightning Grenade now applies Jolt after the first. Okay, that's cool. I like that. Arc Grenades in general are getting 15%, 15%, 20, or not in general. 3 of the Arc Grenades being Arc Bolt. Oh, thank God, Arc Bolt's getting. That's the nade that you. One of the only Arc nade you can use on Hunter. Fucking prismatic. Arc Fragment changes. Now persists until the player returns to full shield. Oh, that's cool. I like that. Now also triggers on defeating targets with power ammo weapons while amplified. I like that. Okay. Now also grants 15 weapon stability on powered melee hit in addition to its... Okay. That's pretty cool. Solar. Let's see. For our gunslinger friends, we're taking a look at lightweight knife, which has struggled to find an identity for itself. Yeah, I don't think I've ever touched lightweight knife. Our overall goal for this ability is to provide a low barrier to entry melee with a payoff for high skill usage. However, it's not currently hitting our fantasy bar. With the release of the final shape, this melee is getting a small rework. It now has 2 melee charges by default and can be thrown back to back dramatically fast. Okay. Now it has 2 melee, increased throw animation speed by 33%, reduced suppression time between throws, so both knives can be thrown very quickly. The additional melee charge does not stack with Ophidius Faith. Tragic. Due to the exotic's unique energy recharge behavior, we'll be monitoring this and evaluating how things are playing once things go live. To support this, we're also updating Knock 'em Down's internal cooldown on its melee refund. This was initially intended to prevent situations where Knife Trick could refund many charges at once, but with the lightweight knife update, we felt it was important to enable a faster cadence of potential refunds. Damn, that is what, from 1 second? Okay, cool. Some raid teams have a niche strategy of hunters fully stacking golden gun. Oh no, no. To instantly refund each other's supers with the orbs of power created on precision hit in the combination with additional super energy granted on orb. While we always appreciate this kind of build crafting ingenuity, this level of super chaining isn't very healthy for the game. Therefore, we're reducing the strength of the orbs created by Golden Gun. Marksman, bro, like, we can't just have fun, bro? Like, motherfuckers can't just have fun?
We're starting on the big one.
Okay. Alright. They've gotten a lot of it cut down. I can't even see the leaves anymore from here. Okay, baby.
I feel like it's okay.
It's okay. They're just nerfing the orbs. Motherfuckers, bro, I can't chain golden guns with 6 or 5 other fucking hunters anymore, bro. How people are getting through, some people are getting through Pantheon. Sunbreakers, Consecration, Slam attacks can now shatter stasis crystals. Added 4 prismatic, pretty much. Now deal 20% additional damage to PvE combatants. They're just buffing this for prismatic so that people are actually excited about it. Hammer of Soul increased projectile submunition count when Soul Invictus is not equipped as follows. They just, oh, I guess they already did the Warlock nerfs they're doing. Increased projectile submunition count when Soul Invictus is not equipped. If the projectile detonates within the first 0.7 of its lifetime, it now creates 4 shrapnel submunitions, up from 3. If after, it now creates 6, up from 5. Is equipped, only 3 shrapnel are created, regardless of flight time. Now, shrapnel will now deal additional when Invictus is not equipped, with the damage increasing after the first 0.7 seconds of the projectile's lifetime. They're just buffing this because it's in prismatic. Tracking, increased linger duration, increased damage. What was that? Oh.
I was trying to lay down, watch TV to relax. I kept hearing noises and it made me want to check. I wish I wouldn't have checked. And now I feel like I can't stop watching. I'm gonna cry. Hyperventilate.
So, as seen by their high popularity, a large portion of that is driven by the potency of Shadow Shot and its ability to lock down hordes of incoming enemies, not necessarily its neutral game offering. So we're making a few changes to help shore up that side. With the release of Void 3.0, we remove the corrosive smoke melee ability in favor of Snare Bomb. Leaning further into the trap lane trickster fantasy, we want to walk that back a little and are baking in small escalating damage over time to the Snare Bomb's now longer smoke volume. This will help Night Stalkers capitalize on incapacitated enemy caught in their trap. These challenges also apply to the smoke volume created by ambusher. Trapper's ambush. Cool. Increase linger duration from 3 to 5. That's nice. Small dot to enemies in smoke, which increases in strength the longer they remain in the smoke. That's nice. I like that. Increase linger duration of the smoke after detonation of 4.5 to 6. Now applies the dot. Fix an issue where smoke effects could be obstructed by ground geometry. I never noticed that, but okay. We're also updating Stylus Executioner to allow its weaken effect while active to be applied by glaive melees as well. Who the fuck cares? Who the fuck's out here using glaives? Stop playing the game. Delete them. Delete all of them. Shield throw, increase maximum.
This just take. Have fun with it.
Increase maximum bounce count 4 to 5. Increases maximum lifetime 3 to 4. Now increases its tracking, shape, size, and strength after each bounce, increasing its ability to consistently find a new target. Slightly increased gravity and decreased thrust speed with each bounce. Increased damage by 20%. Cool. Can now only extend Void Overshield's time to its normal maximum duration to prevent an issue where players could get into a bad timer state. Now regenerates a small portion of your active Void Overshield with each melee defeat. That's cool. Chaos Accelerant. Charged Magnetic Grenade is getting buffed by 10% knockback, 20% damage, and decreases cooldown by 10% while Chaos Accelerant's equipped. Cool. Increased detonation damage for Pocket Singularity, which is the melee, by 50%. That's really nice. I like that. Cataclysm variant, increased secret count. That's cool. Makes it a little bit stronger. Increased duration, cool, a little bit stronger. Strand subclasses. Last up is Strand, which has remained a popular pick since its introduction. Our focus for Strand with this balance pass is primarily to bring in outliers at both the top and very bottom ends of the spectrum rather than the larger reworks we've seen with other damage types. As we evaluate how these changes are feeling and how the Strand abilities included with Prismatic are playing, we'll be taking another look in the future. Before we get into individual subclasses, the first outlier we'd like to address is reduce woven mail duration from 10 seconds to 5 when you pick it up from an orb. Okay, cool. Okay, so has remained popular throughout Strand's life and has seen a small bump in PvE popularity following the increased uptime post. It is currently too powerful against other players with a detonation radius that is very difficult for victims to understand, so we're reducing its overall area of effect. First players. Lame. Okay. Similarly, Threaded Spike is a little too potent against enemy players. It's just fucking PvP nerfs, nobody cares. You're just nerfing it against other players. Add a new behavior. Defeating a target with strand damage now has a chance to generate a perched threadling with a higher chance of generation from defeating more powerful targets. This damage can be from any source, including other threadlings. Oh, that's cool. I like that. So strand weapons and stuff will give you an extra little threadling. That's pretty cool. Grapple tangles and melee. Before we get into Berserker, let's take a pit stop and talk about grapple tangles and grapple melee. When we initially built the grapple tangle as part of the Widow's Silk aspect, we intended for it to be used primarily as a traversal tool, allowing hunters to give their fire team a fast grapple path through combat spaces. However, that intention was quickly subverted, and we now see grapple tangles primarily used to fuel an infinite number of high output grapple melees, particularly on Berserker. We want to keep some degree of freedom in how grapple tangles are used, but we don't believe that using a single attack back-to-back like this is particularly interesting or healthy gameplay, so we're taking a few steps to address it. First, grapple tangles no longer fully refresh their duration when a player uses them. Tragic. Instead, they have a flat number of seconds added to their timer, and that added time decreases with each successive grapple to the same grapple tangle. That sucks. That makes Strand super boring now. All because of you fucking Titans. No longer fully refresh, now increased duration by a maximum of 5 seconds per grapple, reducing to 1 second added after 5 consecutive grapples. Additionally, grapple melee will no longer be able to be used after firing your weapon. Okay. This is primarily intended to reduce the number of difficult to understand grapple melee deaths in the Crucible, where players can grapple towards you, fire a single hand cannon shot, and then follow up with a grapple melee for a very fast cleanup. Moving back to Berserker, while we're happy with how the fantasy has landed, there are a few balance outliers that we want to address to make sure that it's not dramatically out of band with our other subclasses. Our changes here are relatively small and targeted at specific issues, and our goal is that the overall fantasy and gameplay style of the subclass remains intact throughout. Into the Fray offers a high degree of survivability and melee ability uptime. We're generally okay with survivability as it's critical to the fantasy of players, but in combination with the frenzied, reduce melee energy regeneration scalar from 4 times to 3 times in PvE. Okay. When we released Banner of War was still new and we didn't have much time to holistically evaluate its potency. Above we mentioned the melee damage stacking can quickly spiral out of control, and Banner of War is a good example of the result. So reduce the timer by 24%. Melee, glaive, and super damage bonus now have diminishing returns with Syntheseps as follows. Why are we nerfing Syntheseps again? What? Okay. 1.15, 1.125, 1.2. And then Worm Gods is 1.1, 1.05 based on stat count. Okay. Fine. I mean, it's a good nerf. In conclusion, everything we have, we're extremely excited to see how the next era of Destiny 2 Sandbox unfolds after the launch of the final shape, and we'll be closely monitoring the impact of these changes. As always, keep the feedback coming, and we'll see you next time.